Now I know that there is no God in all the earth except in Israel. These are the words of Naaman after he's healed of leprosy by God through the ministry of the prophet Elisha. This story, if you're familiar with it, is a story of healing. Naaman is an army commander for the king of Aram, so a military man of a foreign king. He comes down with leprosy and doesn't know what to do. A slave girl from Israel is the one who gives him guidance, although indirectly by telling her mistress about Elisha, the prophet of Israel. Naaman goes to the king of Israel with a written appeal from the king of Aram. Now, the king of Israel, and at this point it's Joram or Jehoram, who's the king of the northern kingdom. He's listed in 2 Kings 3 as one who does evil, but who isn't quite as bad as his father and mother, Ahab and Jezebel. Joram, or Jehoram, is worried that this is a challenge he won't be able to meet and could stir up trouble. Yet Elisha's not so worried, so Naaman proceeds to Elisha's house, and Elisha sends a servant to give him instructions to wash 7 times in the Jordan, and he'll be healed. And so he was. But this is not just a story about God's healing. You see, Naaman is resistant to this. He does not like that Elisha doesn't even come out to meet him. He also protests that the rivers of his homeland are much nicer than the Jordan River. So, on a personal level, he must break down his pride in order to receive God's healing. Something, by the way, that we can all learn from. God always wants to heal us, especially of our sins, but in other ways too. But we need to humble ourselves to accept that grace. Now, also on an even deeper level, however, we can't lose sight of what's going on here. A foreign military leader, by the way, someone who could be a threat to them, is healed by the God of Israel. What this shows is that the God of Israel is not just the God of Israel, but the God of all of creation. His authority extends to all nations, even those that don't recognize him. Now, furthermore, as Christians, we should see Naaman's washing in the Jordan as prefiguring baptism, through which all the nations are invited into a relation with the God of Israel. The Jordan is the path through which Israel enters into the promised land, so it's the way into the promise. The Jordan is also where we see John the Baptist introducing us to baptism in the New Testament. And Jesus coming and taking up that baptism as part of the new covenant. So Naaman's recognition here in our verse of the day of the God of Israel as the only true God indicates the depth of transformation that has come upon him by passing through the water. So his leprosy is not the only thing that's been healed.